Collin Sexton is one of the best young players in the NBA, but he hasn't always been at the top, and today I'm just here to explain to you guys his story. We all know Collin Sexton for being a young bull and a guy who's been one of the best players at the point guard position, whether that was in high school, college, or even the NBA. And even though all that sounds really good, he had to struggle and fight to get to where he is today. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. And you guys already know, to get into his story, we gotta throw it all the way back to where things started. Collin Sexton was born on January 4th, 1999. He was born in Marietta, Georgia, but he grew up in Mabletown, Georgia. And just like most basketball stars, he started out at a very young age. He picked up and started playing basketball when he was only 3 years old. And as he was growing up, he was always a pretty decent player but was receiving no love at all. Oftentimes you hear the cliche of a player flying under the radar, but this guy wasn't even nowhere close to it. As he was growing up and even in middle school, no one really knew who he was, but that was going to change very quickly. Or was it? He first attended Hillgrove High School in Powder Springs, Georgia, but then he wound up transferring very soon. And the school he wound up deciding to transfer to was Pebblebrook High School in Mabletown, Georgia. And he wound up making this move and decision to transfer there prior to his junior year. And when he was a freshman and sophomore, he still wasn't even ranked. But however, this is where our story takes a drastic turn. Sexton went from unranked to a 5-star basketball recruit within the span of 3 months. And it was all just in one summer. We're not just stopping at that, we're going to take a deep look at how he did this. When he was a freshman and sophomore, it's not like he was even bad, but he knew he could work harder. And he knew deep down if he wanted to get to where he wanted to be, he had to work harder than everyone else. And let's just say he did exactly that. This is when Collin would train every morning and do conditioning workout with his trainer. Collin Sexton received a late invite to try out, not be on the team, but try out for the USA Basketball Under-17 team. And he really wanted to make the team, and this is what his trainer said. He wanted to be on that team so bad. A lot of those other guys had been there before, so they were privileged. His job was to be the hardest worker. I told him, if you outwork everyone, they can't deny you. So this is when Collin really pushed himself. He didn't just work out one time a day, he worked out 3 times per day. He was at his high school every morning by 6 a.m. putting up shots. And not only was he putting up shots, he was doing a morning workout with an assistant coach and a skill set routine. Then in the afternoon, this is when his second workout would take place and he would hit the weight room and do cardio. And then his third and final workout was strictly shooting. Any shooting drill you've ever seen or heard of, he was doing it. And the hard work definitely paid off because Sexton made the team. But not only did he make the team, he was the MVP of the team. The 6'2" point guard led his team with 17 points per game as the 6th man on the team. And in the championship game, he went 8 of 9 from the field. I'd say that's pretty good for a guy they almost didn't even let on the team. And that summer performance was a start to a domino effect. He was the breakout player for the class of 2017. And if you thought that summer performance and being the MVP of the entire league was good, just listen to this. Right after that, he set a single season scoring record for the Nike EYBL circuit. He averaged a whopping 31 points per game. 31 points per game. That is unheard of on the AAU level. The way he played out there, it looked like everything was effortless to him. He had a relentless attitude and was attacking the basket with ease and whenever he wanted to. It didn't matter if you was in his way or not, he was going to come for you. And he was really known as a slasher because he shot 181 free throws that summer. To put that in perspective, the guy who shot the second most free throws only shot around 90. When it was all said and done, over the course of 4 to 5 months, he went from unranked to the number 9 overall player in the country. I don't think you guys quite understand how impossible of an achievement that is. Unranked, not even on the ESPN 300, to number 9 in 4 months. Just clap it up. We gotta give credit where credit is due. When I say this, I really mean it. This will probably never happen again. If he would have went to unranked to the top 100, that would be amazing itself. But the fact that he went from unranked to the top 10 is remarkable. And to top it all off, he did it in 4 months. I know I said it a lot, but I gotta emphasize that. And there's no secret to his success. He just put in the work and it finally paid off. If you think you're working hard, just keep in mind this guy was doing 3 workouts every single day. It just goes to show you there's no secret, just grind, man. And here's what Collin Sexton had to say about his jump to number 9. Nothing changed. I just had to get in front of the right people to show my talents off and do what I do best. That's play hard all the time. If you've seen Collin Sexton play in high school, college, or even the NBA, that's one thing you gotta say about him, that he does play really hard. If you're playing hard or go hard at anything you do in life, that'll take you far. But if you're talented, it also helps, and Collin Sexton is very talented. But also with playing hard comes that fire intensity, and he brings it everywhere he goes. This is what his coach had to say about him in high school. He got teed up at practice every day. If he makes a spectacular play and celebrates before he gets back on defense, he's getting a technical. If the ball goes through the net and he touches it or hands it to the guy out of bounds, we'll tee him up. We'll even take a point away from his team if he doesn't stop. I wouldn't even say that's being cocky or anything. That's just who this guy is. He plays with a passion that you can't coach and you'd love to have on your team. And that passion we're talking about is very critical and important to his success. And that discipline that his coach taught him about not getting technicals definitely paid off. As just a junior in high school, he averaged 29 points per game. Those 29 points per game were before his breakout summer, so a lot of people still didn't know who this guy was. And believe it or not, he was still off the radar nationally. Part of that, well, I wouldn't even say part of that, a main part of that was actually because he was playing for Pebblebrook. It's not known as a basketball factory like Oak Hill or Finley Prep, it's just a public school. And the other main part of that was that Sexton did not perform at a high level in front of a lot of good coaches on the EYBL circuit. But like I stated, that very quickly changed in that one summer. Here's what one of the opposing coaches had to say about him in the summer circuit. It's just impossible to keep him away from the basket. There's not a lot of guys that play extremely hard every possession. He does. And a little fun fact I want to throw in there is that when Collin Sexton was growing up and getting all this attention, he was actually one of the only players to not even have a Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or Snapchat. I thought that was pretty funny and ironic. Anyways, let's continue on with our video. Here's what one of his coaches said about him finally getting ranked. The first time he got ranked, the kids were running around the school congratulating him. He didn't know what people were congratulating him for. I see him at my door and he's telling me, come here, come here. I'm like, oh God, what's wrong? And when his coach told him he was now a top 25 recruit, all Collin Sexton would shrug and go back to class. And here's a statement Sexton said about that in an interview. I really didn't worry about the rankings because I was going to continue doing what I do. That's work hard every day. I just really love Collin Sexton's story. Not only is it a great story in general, but it's very inspiring. He didn't care at all about the rankings. He knew that would come. All he wanted to do was work hard and prove he's one of the best. And this is a perfect example. If you're not ranked, don't worry about it. Just put in the work and the rest will take care of itself. I promise, if you're good, people will eventually find you. And it also really helps to play with some fire and intensity like my boy Collin Sexton, because this guy is a beast on the court. This is a player you'd love to have on your team but hate to play against. And if you don't keep up with Collin Sexton, I'll give you a brief rundown of what's happened ever since high school. Long story short, he wound up deciding, committing, and signing with the University of Alabama, and he really continued to have a lot of great success there. He was one of the best point guards in the SEC and even hit a couple of game winners. And shortly after the season, it came as to a shock to nobody that he decided to enter the NBA draft. And he wound up being a lottery pick and was picked up by the Cleveland Cavaliers. In his first season in the NBA, he averaged 16.7 points per game. And in just his second year, he's already brought his points per game up to 20.8. So yeah, that's pretty impressive if you ask me, and he's definitely beat and defying all the odds. I'm wishing Collin Sexton and his family the best of luck, and I hope he continues to put on a show and have a great basketball career. Collin Sexton was literally unranked almost his entire life, but within the span of 4 months, he got into the top 10 conversation. But now he's playing for one of the worst teams in the NBA, so will that hurt his resume, or will he take this team to the next level? But hey man, with all this being said, that's about gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family and hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.